when you move to support them, like with teaching children, should it go so far as to actually move the body on the bench?
No.
No, still.
No, because if you have to go up, in other words, as you go up, move, but then you have to slide back. You know, it's not necessary.
Okay.
It's not necessary because, and by the way, with children, one of the things I wanted to say about sitting, that, you know, they're little very often, and they want the legs to reach the floor, right? And when the legs reach the floor, they're like that. Yeah. So put something, put a stool, put books or whatever, they have to sit at the right height, which is kind of level, the forearm is level with the keyboard. But when you're moving up, it's very interesting. You're moving, let's say you're moving up, so the body is moving a little bit over, but at some point it will feel like it's falling. So it has, just like the playing is a combination. At the bit, there's more, but of moving across and moving in and out. And how the two work together. So as you're moving here, you're also moving a little bit forward. And the left hand is moving this way, and at some point, everything very slight, forward. And then when the two hands go like that, you see the body moves a little bit forward, so that it's behind both. And if it comes close, you move a little bit back, but the torso should always feel like it has a forward feeling.
Now, the forward part is very helpful.
Up
It
here.
isn't just to the side, it's also...
Exactly. Exactly. And I didn't know it for, you know, we always talked about going like that, but then one day someone said, I feel like I'm falling. And that's another thing that I loved about this work from the beginning, that it was never, you know, oh, I don't know what that's happening to you. It doesn't happen to any one of my students. You know? There's always the feeling that, you know, there's a solution. When you're on a certain path, there's a solution. So it became very clear that at some point, if it goes, and I think it's because one of my friends who does one of the body, you know, works that helps a lot of people, you know, illnesses and all of that. She was also a pianist, and she said to me, you know, when people fall off, I tell them to hold the leg, like let's say the left leg over there. But then, when you're trying to play the piano and the legs are somewhere else, the body's balance is not good. And that's in a way, you know, in other words, the legs have to be in front of the instrument. You have to feel balanced. And then that's really what I realized, that couldn't be the answer. You know, like putting your leg over somewhere to the left and disturb the balance, but moving a little bit forward was all that was necessary. Yeah.
When you're talking about forearm movement and fulcrum, the forearm movement is initiated around here.
Exactly, from the end, the forearm movement, yes.
What about the fingers? Should we think about finger movement initiated at the fingertip or at the ring joint?
Well, you know, the question is, should we think of the fingers as initiated from the fingertip or from the top? So, you know, when we move, when the rotation is there and everything moves together, first of all, they do move from here. They do move from it, but I think what you're asking is something actually I do use, that sometimes I need people to add, most people come from too much fingers, so when we put the forearm, I always look for the balance of the two. And that's one of the things that I don't often see, that sometimes people are taught that and it stays very big. There's no speed when it's very big. But it has to be done with such freedom and really in a correct way that we can minimize it. But sometimes when I want to add a little bit more, when people get to a point where things begin to feel good, you got another coordination. This is between your body and the piano. And when that happens, in other words, at the beginning, we're moving, we're learning how to move, we're learning how to move without, without hurting ourselves. I have to explain to people also that the point people dig very deep into the keyboard, you know, and that also go very fast in the keyboard, and that creates all kinds of other problems. Every action has a reaction, equal and opposite. It very often throws you back, and it gets in the way, you know, all the fast finger movement. But I do often have to make them aware, with the movements and everything, the sense of the fingertip going down with the key. Because that's your only connection with the piano. After all, you're moving all of that to put those keys down. So I can't say to someone you're moving from your fingertips because the tips have no, because the movement is really from here. But it may be enough to talk about getting the sense of the fingertip going down with the key, maybe to do the right thing. I don't know if that's what you mean. Because also, I will talk about the key has a certain speed. We don't know it. We know that we can go faster and faster, but we know also the sound gets uglier and uglier. So what about sound? And I'll talk a little bit about it tomorrow. That's the methodology, but it's ugly. And it will be ugly on anyone because when we talk about the body, basically we build the same. And this is a machine. It doesn't change. So we have to know what we need to know about the piano, where sound is made, what are the different speeds, how do we come with a way. This is why the freedom is so important, because that gives us enough way to put the key down comfortably, plus controlling any sound. So it doesn't depend on inspiration. We're not always inspired. We're not always up to it, so there's the how-to. The whole issue of how to play an instrument is how to do it. What's the how? What's the recipe? So sometimes you have great ideas, from performers and from teachers, wonderful. But the students sometimes are left with, well, I hear it, I feel it, but I don't know how to do it. So the how is missing. So maybe you'll tell me what you mean. So I think that there is a role to it, but the actual movement is from here. But not excessive. You see, that's the thing, when it's coordinated, the fingers move in a way that they feel alive, but they don't feel like work.